What's going on, everybody? This is Cody, the home theater hobbyist. A few weeks ago, I published my unboxing video of these speakers, the KEF LSX IIs. And I titled that thumbnail, A Beautiful Pair. And I was talking about the unboxing experience because it was impressive, but more importantly, how these speakers look because they are gorgeous. I mean, look at this cabinet. It is high gloss and flawless. This front face, you've got the UniQ driver right in the center with the tweeter in the center and the woofer surrounding that with a black rubber surround around it. So you've got nice contrast here. And in this red color, it just makes a statement. After I finished unboxing these, I set them up on my desk, and my family, just kind of coming in as they come and go, they saw them and they were like, "Dad, are those new? They look great." That was my children. My wife saw them. "Wow, those look great." So they just really make a statement. So when people come in your home and they see these speakers in red, they're going to ask about them. Be warned. And you can tell them about them. You can have a little conversation. And not only can you tell them about them, but you can pull out your phone, connect to the KEF Connect app, and instantly begin playing music so that they can hear how these sound. And honestly, through that, you might actually have converted somebody to these speakers because they sound that good. But if you don't want to make a statement, the good news is they don't not only come in this red that I have here, but they come in a black, a white, a blue, and even a tan/sandstone color that looks fantastic. Now, if it were up to me, which color would I choose? Honestly, I don't know, because I like the red, I like the blue, I like the sandstone, and I even like the black. I like the white too, but I like them. I like all of the different colors, so I can't recommend a color for you. I mean, this red looks fantastic, but honestly, I don't think you'll go wrong with these speakers in the color department. And if you like them a lot, just buy another pair in the other color. I mean, you could do that too, right? But in this video, I want to continue that beautiful theme because not only do they look good, but the KEF Connect app is very easy to use. I like it a lot. And also they sound great. Now, these are not without their flaws, and I'm going to talk about that as well. But overall, I've had a great experience with these. So let's get to it. So let's start at the beginning. What are these? These are active wireless hi-fi speakers. And what does that mean? Well, the active part means there are amplifiers built into each one of these cabinets. There's actually two Class D amplifiers, one for the tweeter and one for the mid-range driver. So that means that you don't need a separate amplifier or AV receiver to send a signal or power amplification to the speakers because the amplifiers are built in. But since the amplifiers are built in, you do need to connect these to a power outlet. They come with a power cable and you do need to connect them to a power outlet. They're not truly wireless, i.e. they have batteries built into the cabinet. That's not that. You do need to connect these to power. But they are wireless in that they connect to your Wi-Fi network, either 2.4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz. So you can listen to music over Wi-Fi, but you can also connect via Ethernet if you want. But these two speakers do not require that they be connected to one another with a speaker cable. And that's what I really mean by wireless. They can sit here just like that and they will communicate back and forth. The primary speaker will send over the audio information to the secondary speaker and they will remain in sync. In my testing, I had basically no issues. The only time I had issues with these talking between one another was when I initially set them up and I had the secondary speaker sitting right next to my router. It was within like an inch of my router, my Wi-Fi router. So the Wi-Fi router is sprouting off its signal and this is trying to talk to the primary speaker. So it was kind of a little bit of a mess. And I mean, it worked, don't get me wrong, but every now and then I would have dropouts. So then I went ahead and I connected the two speakers together, and KEF provides an Ethernet cable to connect the primary speaker to the secondary speaker. And once I did that, those issues totally cleared up. Now, another benefit of actually connecting these two speakers together is that you get the highest resolution or highest fidelity experience out of these speakers. When they are not connected, when they are wireless, you get up to 48 kilohertz at 24-bit PCM audio resolution. But once you connect them via wire, the Ethernet cable that either comes in a box or one that you provide, it goes up to 96 kilohertz at 24-bit PCM. So you get a more high resolution experience. All right, now let's talk about use. After you get these out of the box, how do you connect everything, all of that? Well, as I mentioned earlier, this is the primary speaker. this is the secondary speaker. This has all the major connections, and there's just a couple of connections back here. There's basically two. There's the power connection, because you do have to plug in the power cable, and there's also an Ethernet jack, so you can connect these two together when you want to go wired. And there's also one other button back here, and that is a pairing button. From the factory, these come paired together, but if for some reason they lose their pairing, you can press a button on the back of the secondary speaker and on the primary speaker, so these can repair. So that's the buttons on the secondary speaker. But on the primary speaker, it has all the connections I just mentioned for the secondary speaker, plus it also has a reset button, so you can reset it if you need to factory settings. And there's also a Bluetooth pairing button if you need to use that at some point. There's also several other connections, including an optical in, USB-C in, auxiliary in, HDMI input, and there's an Ethernet jack as well. There's also a subwoofer out connection on the primary speaker only, so that you can connect a subwoofer, and I do recommend that if you want nice impactful bass when you're watching movies. Now let's talk about controls. In the box, they give you this remote, and it's pretty self-explanatory. I'll only explain one thing. The left and right arrows are for input selection. So if you have a USB-C source and you want to go to optical or something like that, you're going to press these arrows, and you're going to point it at this speaker, the primary speaker, because the remote sensor is over here. It's that little LED that you see just below the driver. There's also a circle over here below this driver on the secondary speaker, and I like it because it's nice visual balance, but it's not a sensor itself. And that would be nice to have in another, version of this or whatever, but it's okay. It's nice. It looks nice anyway. So if you want to turn these on, you just point it at the primary speaker like that, and you hit the button and it turns on and plays a little startup chime, which you can disable in the app. And that kind of brings me to the app. This is the KEF Connect app. And what you do with it is basically everything. You get it from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, and up top it has some, KEF stuff up there. But you get here and you can see the different inputs, but just below that, you've got all this music in the cloud stuff. These are all the different music services that you can sign into, like Amazon Music, Tidal, Spotify, Qobuz. You can sign into your account, access your favorite playlists, do searches on your favorite artists, change different things in the queue, add things to your queue so you can listen to it. I like it a lot. Below that, they have another section with like internet radio, so you can find your favorite internet radio stations and add favorites. There's also podcasts. You can search for pretty much any podcast and find it here. And again, add that to the queue and begin playing things. And then there's a UPnP server there. So overall, this is a pretty nice app, and I don't have any issues with it. When you're signed into your different accounts, it takes a few seconds to, find your favorite playlists and stuff like that, just because it's kind of doing a good bit. But again, the app is responsive, it works, and so yeah, I like it. All right, let's talk sound quality. And I have to say, KEF has really impressed me with these speakers. They are smaller speakers. We're talking 4.5-inch drivers with a 0.75-inch tweeter. But what KEF has done with the amplification and the DSP inside this cabinet is impressive, because this gives you nice, clean sound even at high volume levels. You can actually get room-filling sound out of these speakers. And I'm not just talking about treble high end, oh my gosh, I'm breaking glasses. I'm talking there's actual bass coming out of these things. The bass driver can actually output at high levels. So you're getting a nice sound, whether it is a volume of 30 or it is a volume of 85 or 90 out of these things. This thing goes all the way to 100. It literally, the volume scale on the phone goes all the way to 100, and you can push it there and these things play and they sound good. At 100, it does run out a little bit, but at 90, 95, you're really still getting a great sound out of these speakers. And I am impressed, because oftentimes with smaller speakers, there's just not enough amplification built in, or there's, after about 70, 80, you start getting a little bit of distortion and it's starting to lose itself, and you're definitely not getting a lot of bass. It's distorted bass if it is. These are still actually playing very, very well at those high volume levels. And that is just impressive, right? I'm really impressed by how these sound at high volume levels. Now, as far as the stereo imaging is concerned, I think that is a place where KEF also took some time to listen to these and make sure these image correctly, because again, they are impressive considering how small they are, especially even at higher volumes. I listened to Chocolate Chip Trip by Tool, and it's basically just a bunch of instruments just kind of moving around the soundstage in all sorts of manner. You got vertical, you got depth, you got things moving across, around, outside of the speaker, inside of the speaker. It's just doing all sorts of things, and I like it as a test track, and these kept up without breaking a sweat. So the imaging on these is really, really good, especially when they're set up properly. Now, if you don't set them up properly, it's still really good, but when they're set up properly, it is very impressive, even at high volumes, just how well these do with stereo imaging. Now, how do the speakers sound? One of the things that I had an opportunity to do, which is honestly a treat for me, is one of my favorite artists, Ty Tribute, released a new album just like a week ago as I'm recording this, and I didn't even know it was coming out. It was just kind of one of those things I just kind of found, oh man, he's got a new album out. So I sat down and I listened to the album on these, and I just enjoyed myself. It was just so much fun listening to an entire album on these speakers. I didn't think, oh, I need to go get some bigger speakers or nothing like that. I mean, I got them here, but I didn't. I just listened to them on these speakers and I enjoyed myself. And that's because it is a nice smooth presentation overall, but it's got great dynamics from the bass all the way up to the treble. It can really kind of hit those notes. The treble is relatively clean and detailed. And I say relatively because honestly, I am comparing it a little bit to the KEF LS50 Wireless 2s that I had just a few months ago. And I have to say that the treble is really good here, but it's even better on those LS50 Wireless 2s. And I think it's because these are using 11th generation Unique drivers, whereas the LS50 Wireless 2s are using the 12th generation with metamaterial. So the detail there, the overall presentation in the treble is a little bit cleaner, so you get more detail, right? But these are still very good. So I just kind of a note there about those LS50 Wireless 2s. But moving into the mid-range, vocals are nice and natural, nice and smooth, with just a touch of warmth to them, just a touch, and it just kind of gives you a nice laid-back presentation overall in that mid-range, and I kind of like it. I like that sound with these speakers. And moving into the bass, I've kind of talked about it a little bit, but you get nice output from the bass drivers, and it's nice in detail. It's not super deep. I think it goes down to 45, 47 hertz, something like that. But what it gives you nice detail. Now, if you want to go deeper, maybe you're watching action movies, or, you just want a better, a little bit more output with your music, definitely just add a subwoofer. A 10 or 12 inch subwoofer definitely will help these out, and you can go into the app and kind of adjust things there accordingly. But I think they've done a good job. Now, in the bass department, the LS50 Wireless 2s are also better. You get a bigger driver, so they're going to play deeper, and they're going to give you more detail and more output. But these do a great job. I mean, like I said, I am really impressed by how well these do considering the size of the cabinet and the overall size of the speaker itself. KEF has done a great job giving you the KEF sound, a nice refined sound at all volume levels with the LSX IIs. Now, from a home theater point of view, one of the downsides of these speakers is they do not support Dolby audio. So what KEF says to do is to go into your TV's audio menu and make the digital output PCM, not auto, not pass-through, not bitstream, not Dolby, none of that. Just select PCM, and then it'll play, audio as you would expect. You might not get all of the different little effects, but it will play audio. And the funny thing is, it doesn't play Dolby, but it does play DTS. And I found this out because I actually played Despicable Me 3, and the movie itself is encoded in, or I guess it was Despicable Me 2. The movie itself is decoded in DTS Master Audio, and that played. But none of the menus would play. I couldn't hear any sound from any of the menus or even the previews before the movie. So I just found that to be interesting. But just make sure that you go in and you select PCM for your digital output on your television to make sure you can hear sound from these speakers. So there it is. That's why I think these are beautiful speakers. Not only do they look fantastic, and KEF gives us all of these different colors so we can figure out which ones work best for us and our decor, but they also have the KEF Connect app, which works really well, integrates a lot of different services, including podcasts and radio right here over your speakers. And you also get a lot of different settings, so you can manage your speakers and subwoofers and stuff like that to set things up the way you want. but they also sound great. They are very impressive considering their size and the fact that you get that nice KEF sound, that's nice, refined, smooth sound, even at high volumes with these small speakers. I think KEF has really done a great job here. Now, some of you may be asking, which ones do I prefer? The KEF LS50 Wireless 2s or the LSX 2s? I have to say that the KEF LS50 Wireless 2s are a better speaker. I mean, you get a few more features, including more higher resolution support, because I think those go up to 384 kilohertz at 24 bits, whereas these are 96 kilohertz at 24 bits. There's a touch bar on the top, and it's just a better speaker, but it's also basically twice the price. These are $1,400. Those are like $2,800 as I record this. And at $1,400, these aren't cheap, and obviously at $2,800, those aren't cheap either. So if you're trying to figure out which ones you should buy, if you want all the latest and greatest features, go for the LS50 Wireless 2s. But if that's a little bit out of your price range, definitely pick up the LSX 2s because these are really good speakers. I don't think you're going to be sad about owning these speakers, especially if you get them in a nice statement color like I have here, because it'll be really good fun talking to your friends and your family about these speakers and stuff like that. So I don't have any issues recommending them whatsoever. In fact, I think I have about a month or so before I have to send these back to KEF. So I'm going to go sit these up back on my desk or somewhere in my house and just sit back and listen to some more music. But if you found this video helpful, definitely hit us up with a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and if you want to purchase these or anything else, use those links in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to you next time.